UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I'm your host for today, Brandon Shea Mutella, and joining me are my ever-constant co-hosts, whose hearts I'm going to burn in a fire! Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi and Justin Oser. Chrissie, how are you doing?
Very well. Very well. This was a fun episode. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Awesome, yes. And I'm looking forward to continuing. Clearly, we must be continuing our streak of love for the show Lower Decks with our co-host, Justin Oser. Justin, welcome.
Hold on, I've got some debris I want to throw at you when I reverse my tractor beam. That was awesome. The best I could do for that, Captain. But,
that's your best J.G. Hertzler.
That may give you an indication of how I felt about this episode. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, we are thrilled. We've got ourselves a wonderful guest joining us. We've got Phyllis Strong, who is a person who's worked on Star Trek in the past. They've written for Voyager and Enterprise and was the executive story editor for Star Trek Enterprise as well. Phyllis, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing? And I'm excited to talk about the show.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm doing great. We're all very excited. I think most of us are very excited. The Lower Decks, the majority of us. Lower Decks, we found, like all good Trek, it's been divisive with the fandom.
There you go.
I can imagine. I have, other than maybe when I was a child watching an occasional animated series, Star Trek, the animated series, and mostly the one with Spock and time travel. Other than that, I haven't watched animated kind of anything for a long time. So in some ways I was doubtful, but when I get into it, let's say if I close my eyes, I'm certainly hearing Star Trek, and it just feels so low. The Lower Decks was something that we talked about behind the scenes back as long ago as Voyager and Enterprise. So it was always something that was on the books as a possible spin-off, but no one could ever crack it. And seeing how Mike has cracked it with humor, I think it's great. I really do feel like I'm in Star Trek. I feel like I'm in, I'm in Starfleet. I really feel like these guys could be in Starfleet, even though they're exaggerated. And so overall, I like the premise. And I like seeing both the bridge and the Lower Decks guys. And I like their interaction as well. I'm mixed about the episodes so far overall. There were some I really liked and some I thought were kind of just coasting on some of the setups they'd done before. And I'm excited to talk about Terminal Provocations. So I was kind of in the middle on this one, honestly, because I sort of felt like all of a sudden we were with Fletcher, and I hadn't really bonded with Fletcher or seen him or really concentrated on him before, and I liked some of the clever twists in it, but I didn't feel as emotionally attached to this one, I guess would be my bottom line.
Excellent. Well, Chrissie, what are your initial impressions on the episode?
I enjoyed it, as I said earlier. It was kind of strange to just, I guess, have the guy show up. We haven't met him before. He's the extra character of the week. We've been getting some of those. But I think...
New guy, everything's going to be fine, right?
Yeah, and in red. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah, but I think for what he was and what he needed to be for the episode, it was decently fleshed out, It would have been nice. I'm starting to get, maybe it's that serialized thing that we've had with Picard and Discovery, but I'm kind of like, oh, where did that person come from now when we have this kind of setup? So, because it seems like they've all been friends for a while. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe he just transferred over from Delta Shift.
Maybe.
He could have, yes.
Oh, but we didn't see him when they were attacking, when they were going to Delta Shift before.
True.
Justin, what are your initial impressions on the episode?
Well, yeah, for those that have listened to all these episodes, or maybe have not, I feel like I have to give a scorecard. Like, the first 4 episodes, I didn't enjoy and had significant issues with. The one last week, I really enjoyed. We had fun talking about that. So let me just first say what I liked about this episode. So first, it was a nice, pleasant surprise to hear J.G. Hertzler, who most famously voiced Martok on Deep Space Nine, doing the voice of the Drukmani captain. I thought that was really cool. It's great to hear him doing that. Also, I usually don't laugh a lot at these episodes, but the one where I did definitely laugh out loud was when they were talking about Starbase 80, and then like in the background, someone's like, "Damn, Starbase 80!"
Damn,
like,
Starbase 80!
That was good. That took me by surprise, and I kind of like that kind of humor where something is happening like in the background. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, I think it's in the Deep Space Nine episode Profit and Lace, which I don't like overall, but at the beginning of the episode, there's this thing where Rom's coming into Ops, and he's like, oh my goodness, the Dominion's going to overrun Ferenginar, and then like way in the background, and then I think he says something like, imagine the cost to civilization, and like way in the background, Worf is like, I cannot imagine any, or something like that, which makes me, I like that kind of humor where something's going on in the foreground and you hear it in the background. So I really like that. And there were some great references. I always like when they mention, Titan and things like that. I always like seeing Ta'ana. I think she's a favorite. But I had some really significant issues with the main plot points, which I'm sure we'll go into. But like, I guess my biggest issue is Fletcher needs some like mental health support in a big way, and not to have this like swept under the rug and like this dangerous thing happens, like just promote him out and stick him on the Titan. So I had a big issue with that. I had a big issue with the Badgie subplot, which I know a lot of people liked, but we'll talk about that. So overall, I had a tough time enjoying it, even though I enjoyed certain aspects of it.
Awesome.
Well,
I really like this one. This is my favorite so far. I think I laughed the loudest and the most out loud during this one here, and it was a lot of the little subtle humor things. I think like just the weird lines that were being tossed out, and a lot of the stuff with Badgie, like when he froze up, I thought was really funny. Like the 2 times that he froze up, I thought were like brilliantly timed comedically, and some of the lines that he tossed out, like just. I'm gonna burn your hearts in a fire, like just these weird things that he says. Like the best one to me was "I'm gonna wear your skin," like just these ridiculous things that he's shouting out. And then the line when the Drukmani captain shouts out "F you," I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. But
and I think that's very in character for J.G. Hertzler in real life,
so
because I've seen him at conventions, and that does happen.
So, awesome. Well, let's jump into the episode itself then. Normally we get news right out of the way at the beginning, but we kind of all covered all the news on our special episode for Star Trek Day, and there hasn't really been anything since then. So we'll just jump into the episode discussion here. So I want to talk about the first big problem that I had with the way that a character acted in this episode, though. And I was kind of upset at the way Ta'ana reacted to Beckett Mariner after getting the cheese on her, and some of the things that she said, where she's like, "I've heard about you. You're a disgrace." Now, so we've talked
been
about
hearing
this
from
before.
John Tenuto.
She's been listening to John Tenuto. She listened to episode 4 of our podcast.
Sorry, Phyllis.
Here.
John Tenuto is a big critic of this, and we had him on a couple weeks ago. So,
oh, that's great.
The way she reacted and what she said to Beckett Mariner, "I've heard about you. You're a disgrace." This goes back to, I think it was episode 4 when we had John on, when they were having the big problem, and I'm like, okay, so this captain, one of 2 things has happened here. Okay, so either the captain is now still talking to people about her disappointment in Beckett Mariner, and she's talked directly to the doctor,
Yeah.
or it's getting out from Ransom. Like, she's venting to Ransom, and Ransom is now spreading it. And so, like, in my opinion, when you look at this, Freeman has got a big problem here with morale for her major crew on top, like her senior staff, because to have a senior staff member react like this to one of the lower crew, I think was completely out of line for a Starfleet officer. And what did you think about that, Phyllis?
Now that you bring, I know that I reacted a little. It bumped for me in that word, and I didn't even think it was that funny either. But it also seemed to me as it didn't fit with her character from the episodes beforehand. You know, even from the pilot and what she was like. She doesn't strike me as she's supposed to be this sort of curmudgeonly or, you know, high-pitched curmudgeonly sort of voice. And we haven't really seen a lot about her. So this was like a cat joke, you know, that was inserted there. And I didn't think we needed it. So I'm in agreement with you.
Justin?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what I would say, Brendan, is that it feels a bit par for the show, because there's all of this like conflict and people within the lower decks. And then in this episode, you have, you know, this beta shift and delta shift. And it's like, it's got to be delta shift. I hate those guys. You know, like there's all of this like animosity and hostility, which I think you would definitely see, you know, present day for some of these things, but we've come to expect something different in Star Trek. So whenever that happens, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I think I've seen that throughout this show, where it seems like people are off on their own, you know, interests and like the little groups. And I think Mariner even says in some of this, like, well, you know, Fletcher's pretty messed up, so at least we'll trust maybe some of the lower deck people. I don't know. But it seems like there's just like a lot of, you know, hostility going on, and it rubs me the wrong way and makes it so that it's harder for me to find it funny, because a lot of what they're telling you is funny is kind of the hostility and the jabs and all of that. So, but yeah, I hadn't thought of the Ta'ana one like that. Although I think later, I forget who it is, but somebody's like, maybe it was even Fletcher, after Ta'ana leaves, he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's just a cat in a coat, which is extremely disrespectful, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah. So that's one of the big problems I've had with this show, is it seems like what I love about a lot of Star Trek is it's a lot about, you know, working together despite our differences and kind of acting like, you know, a family all in this together. But it seems like there are all these factions that are against each other constantly.
Oh, I was just going to extend that there's a little bit of that feeling. I mean, I feel like I'm in Starfleet, but when they're going, we're Starfleet, you know, we attempt for peace. We don't actually go, you know, fire on somebody's warp core, where we're Starfleet, we do this. And you can see there's just the under irony of the fact that absolutely they're going to do the opposite, or we wish to do the opposite. You know, or it's an anthem, like they're going, I'm Starfleet, I'm not Starfleet. You seem very Starfleet to me. And it's to me kind of a coding saying, you know, we're sort of searching for what that means. Because it's meaning a lot of things right now.
Chrissie, what did you think of Ta'ana there?
On first watch, she's trying to eat in the midst of the craziness, while Fletcher's trying to drink stuff out of the replicator. I didn't catch what it was they were pouring.
Puree, some type of fruit puree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They said puree, and I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Applesauce. We'll just say it was applesauce. So I can see where, like, you're sitting there, you're trying to eat, there's all this craziness, you're frustrated, and then you get your face smacked in your food. But yeah, it's not in character for her. And the thing about the cat in a coat, I had that written down too. Not only, I mean, that's not Starfleet, that's not 24th century, that's not, hey, this is something that I recognize as a fellow sentient humanoid as opposed to my pet. That I've dressed up.
I mean, and try to reverse that a little bit. Like if Ta'ana's species is descended from people that are like cats, and humans are descended from something like, you know, primates, it would be like someone who is like a cat species seeing like a human doctor and all this, and they'd walk off and be like, don't worry, it's just like a monkey in a coat. Like, I mean, that would be so extremely disrespectful, right? Like, but they're trying to play it for laughs.
But the way they present it to show that Fletcher is good at diffusing a situation, it works in that context.
He's good at diffusing stuff in the first half of the episode, but not later.
Well, we're told that after he deals with that situation, we're told that that's his skill, you know, and of course she says it's really difficult to get cheese out of her fur, and then, you know, one swipe with the warm towel and she's fine.
That's true.
Yeah, it's consistency.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What exactly, okay, let me ask you this, guys, here. What exactly is a sonic shower? Because to me, sonic is sound. So, like, do you
like
just go
waves.
into, like, it's sound waves. So you just go into, like, a home theater system and, like, turn it up really loud, and, like, it just blows the food off of you? Or what?
I don't think it's ever made any sense. But...
I think it's at some kind of frequency. It's just sort of like a frequency shower where it's so high or so whatever that it, you know, it zaps the dirt off of you. Was my impression of it. Like you wouldn't even hear it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I think of it almost as like booming bass notes that like vibrate the dirt off of you or something. But it's a weird concept that they go for. Yeah,
you just get on there and put the latest DJ Tiesto album. It's like, because in Enterprise they still used water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the idea with the sonic showers is it's introduced in the 24th century. I think.
Right? 24. I remember, I know it's not canon, but I remember very distinctly in one of the novels there being some comment that Kirk says that water showers are by doctor's orders only.
Yeah, but on screen they never say anything.
Yeah. I got the impression that 23rd century definitely had showers. You know, especially for Kirk to shower after.
And I mean, Neelix, the best he could hope for was a good sand scrub, right?
That's true.
So.
Very true. I mean,
Awesome.
I can see about conserving water, but somehow this just seemed like a way to, again, be science fiction-y without necessarily being Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
So back to Beckett Mariner and this plot going on with Fletcher. So again, Fletcher's got this thing where he's like, I don't know, he seems incompetent. Again, so here we got more crew members on this ship that are incompetent, right? So they're saying he's good at diplomacy and stuff, but he's like, oh, this work was so overwhelming that he volunteered to take over for everybody. And then he's like, I'm just going to try and improve myself by this weird technological upgrade, and it just goes awry. He breaks the thing.
I think it makes no sense because you're not given like any reason why he would suddenly want to do that, except like, oh, I'm bored and this works really hard. Let me plug my head in. Like, what person would do that unless they were experiencing serious mental illness? I think so.
And we didn't see him as not smart. He wasn't like if they were trying to say with the puree and actually just that was just about it, that he was sort of a fun-loving, not too bright guy. No one ever sort of picked that up beforehand. There was no setup on that.
No, and there was no like, you know, external influence or something like he's acting crazy because of this, you know. I mean, I think they meant it as a reference to the TNG episode, The Nth Degree, where like Barclay's on the holodeck and like, but he connects himself to the computer. But there's like a reason given within the episode for this influence that's pushing him toward that. And this episode's like, the work was too hard, so I figured I would, I don't know, quickly find a helmet where you can plug yourself in directly. That was weird too. Like, they're not gone for very long, and all of a sudden he has like this helmet for the interface. Anyway, yeah, it didn't make any sense to me.
Maybe he has the helmet already. He just plugs himself into random computers, and this was the first one that did anything.
And it like zapped him, and then like took on his personality.
Yeah, exactly. It absorbed him, became sentient, but then wanted to accumulate, like wanted to learn. Like again, if he had been this, I don't know much, but I'm a good-hearted guy who wants to keep learning from all you guys, and you go ahead because I want you to like me because I'm leveraging off of you. You know, there's a story, at least. And that would make sense for what the sentient warp core thingy did.
See, and like when you look at this, like all three plots of this episode, when you look at them, they're all very Star Trek episodes. You've got the arguing with an alien race over the salvage, you've got somebody who made an upgrade to a technology and it went bad, and you've got the holodeck malfunction episode. Like all three of these are very, very, very Star Trek episodes, but to me, like there's just a little something missing from it. And Phyllis, in the previous episodes we've talked about it, like for me, this is just Star Trek parody. Like I know they've told us this is canon, but this is just Star Trek parody to me is all it is. So I can let those things go. They don't bother me that much, but it is interesting that they do have a good grasp on the feel of a good Star Trek episode, though.
Yes, I would say so, but I would also say that might explain why the plot fits, but the characters and the motivations don't. Because it seems as though somebody came up with a great idea about this piece of technology that goes, awry, an ultimate computer or something like that. That's dangerous, and then is going to be cleverly used as the way to solve the diplomatic impasse incident. And so I thought that was clever, and I liked it when Mariner and Boimler were dealing with it. But as far as why it got made, it could have just as well been zapped from, some salvage that had hit the side of Cerritos or something like that.
Like it could have emerged from the wreckage of the freighter or something like that.
Right. I didn't see how it was. It was as though they sort of backed into Fletcher and the whole beginning because they wanted this to happen. That was my sort of feel for that.
Now, one thing that I was kept expecting to happen, and on every rewatch I was watching for it, but I don't think that the malfunction of this piece had anything to do with the malfunction of Badgie. I was looking for some type of correlation there.
No,
but
there isn't.
Right.
They weren't correlated at all. They just both happened to have disasters happening at the same time because it seemed like the safety programs, when did they come back on? After he killed Badgie, I guess?
Badgie?
Yes,
so,
after the father-son thing.
The father-son battle. So, okay, well, let's jump into unless there's anything else more we want to talk about Fletcher's plot line. Is there anything we missed there?
This guy seriously does not need to be elevated, even though, again, it's clever. How do you get somebody off the ship and, away from you? You get them promoted so they get to go somewhere else. I've never actually seen, this seems to be a ship where promotion means instant, delivery to another starship, just like we saw in the subplot in Cupid's Arrow.
Yeah. Promotion also seems to mean moving up a full grade with no, junior grade in between. but yeah, I guess I just want to emphasize again, what Mariner and Boimler are doing in sweeping this under the rug, making him seem like a hero and just pushing him off somewhere else is reckless and dangerous and not at all what you should be doing as part of Starfleet. And Mariner has this whole thing okay, it's not that I hate all regulations, I just hate dumb rules. But I feel like there's a smart rule in there that's hey, if somebody's doing something really dangerous and they need mental health support, don't sweep it under the rug. So I had a huge problem that they went there with that, besides him just randomly plugging himself into this thing. So I don't know, I had a lot of problems with the Fletcher part, and just it didn't work for me.
It does seem like Mariner is trying to inform people that he needs help at the end. We don't get to hear her tell the explanation of what happened, but he says, "What happened?" And he goes, "I'll tell you what happened." And so you get the impression that she explains everything expecting that the upper decks people are going to go, "Oh, that was crazy. Maybe we should not, promote him and
But they're relying on Mariner and Boimler to tell them what happened, and they're like, "Hey, he was a hero. He meant to do this and all of that." And then they push him off to the Titan, and he basically gets relieved of duty, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, you got to go. Bye." So who knows what this guy's gonna do now? It just seems so dangerous.
Yeah, I read that differently.
He'll be a villain in episode 10.
Yeah.
You read it? You read it differently?
I read it that Mariner genuinely said, here's all the stuff that he messed up. But because it turned out good, they promoted him.
No. She told the senior staff that that Fletcher had basically planned this the whole time to use as a weapon, and that's what they were saying, I think, at the end. So that's how they took it. They're like, "Hey, he was so brilliant for coming up with this way to resolve this situation." They told him that.
I read it the way that Justin read it.
Yeah, they told him that.
Okay.
Let's look at this both ways, though. Okay, so we're not quite done on this right here.
Okay.
Let's look at this both ways.
Didn't mean to...
No, this is good. The reason why I think I agree with Justin's interpretation is because that fits more on par with Beckett Mariner's character and with the comedy of the show, where you think she's like, I'm going to get this guy in trouble, but then the story that we didn't hear her tell is what Justin said. He was awesome, he was smart, he planned this out, and so they promoted him, and he ended up getting a transfer because she says, keep your friends close and your enemies way the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So like she didn't want to keep him around anymore because she knows he's dangerous, and therefore he's dangerous to her by working with her. And so she lied and silver coated what happened. I think that's the term, is silver coating.
Yeah.
Sugar coated, thank you.
Silver lining.
So that they would transfer him somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now let's look at it the other way, which is equally as plausible for this ship. Is that she did tell them what happened, and they're like, because it went good, we're just going to promote him and get him off my ship, because they don't really deal with problems. Yeah. They don't really deal with problems.
Both of those are just problematic.
Yes, both of them are problematic.
Failing upwards either way.
The transfer does feel strange. The immediate transfer to another ship does feel very strange.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we get him to the Titan, which, if listeners don't know, so then that's the ship that Riker and Troy are on. That's the ship that Riker's the captain of at the end of Nemesis, right? So I can just picture this, you know, like having to have this conversation with Troy and Riker or whatever, and you know, because I read the books, Christine Vale's over there as well, right?
Yeah.
And they're firing this guy after 6 days, which is also kind of funny. So
yeah, I'm actually reading a Titan novel right now. So
Perfect.
Which not only did they fire him, but they also demoted him in the meantime, because in that conversation at the end, he's an ensign again.
But what
6 days.
What does firing even mean? I thought it was being like, I don't know, relieved from Starfleet, discharge, firing. I don't know if that terminology makes sense in Starfleet. But
No.
I don't know, but they did say that he was going to end up. It was Earth's problem now. So
Earthbound.
definitely
Starbase 80. Oh, damn!
That's fired out of an airlock or torpedo tube to Starbase 80.
I really want next week's episode to take place on Starbase 80. I really do.
That's funny.
Okay.
That would be good.
Okay, let's jump into the Badgie plot line here, because this is interesting. So like typical Star Trek, we've got at least Next Generation and Voyager, and the occasional DS9. We've got the holodeck malfunction episode. And so we've got Badgie, who's very much like the paper clip from old Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I suffered through
And
him.
my favorite part is that clearly Rutherford has clearly got a crush on Tendi.
Yeah, he's trying to impress her. It seems
he's
like
he's had a crush on her since second episode, if not before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is good for me. I like that. That's a good thing. To,
Tendiford forever.
Let's encourage that. Let's encourage that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Excellent. So, Phyllis, what did you think of the Badgie plot line here? Did you think it was... I thought this was hilarious. I thought the comedy was a lot of fun. What did you think of this here?
I thought it was a lot of fun, but sort of existed in a vacuum. And I got that he was trying to impress her, and that she also was afraid of spacewalking. But it seemed as though, like, it was very strange to me when they were in such trouble on the spacewalk that all of a sudden Rutherford could go, change to, scenario 5, and all of a sudden they're in another place. And this is where we see Badgie go crazy. I thought it was enjoyable or funny, but I just didn't think it went anywhere. So it kind of left me feeling a little flat.
Yeah, they go to, I think the first one they transfer to is Bajor. Right?
A Bajoran Marketplace.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bajoran Marketplace, yeah. which is kind of neat, which is cool for canon connections, right? Getting to see some. We saw D Space Nine last week, and then we got some Bajoran reference this week, which is really awesome. So, Justin, what do you think of this one here?
Okay, so when this was first happening, Badgie appears, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a takeoff on Clippy, that annoying Microsoft supposed helper that was there in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And for me, I was like, I haven't even thought about that thing for a while, and maybe I would have found it funnier if it was like 20 years ago, but like that came up and I was like, okay, let's see where that goes. And then like a problem that I've had with this show sometimes is that they will like really heavily foreshadow what's going to happen. Like at one point when I think before Badgie goes kind of crazy, there's like this ominous music and he's got this look, and I tend not to like that when they're signaling you like, hey, bad things are going to happen. And also like the holodeck malfunction episodes, I actually tend to like those when they come up in like TNG and Voyager and all that, but trying to basically lean into that trope and say we're going to take this trope as far as we can instead of trying to turn it on its head. Like I think what would have been really funny is if instead of Badgie was like homicidal, Badgie tried to be like so incredibly helpful that it was actually dangerous instead of like trying to be, because actually I think there was a recent, if I remember this right, the Kelvin novel, The Unsettling Stars.
I was just thinking that when you said that.
Alan Dean Foster. Maybe that's where I got the idea, because that novel is great because there's this species that is like way too helpful and it's becoming really dangerous because of how good they are at stuff and how helpful they are. I would have loved that and I think that would have been hilarious, but like one of the things I've had a problem with this show as well is the depiction of violence, because I know it's animated and all of that, but when something happens, whether it's live action or animated, and blood is showing or it's like somebody's getting mutilated, whatever makes me laugh turns off. I can't like, and so that was happening, and Badgie was like, mutilating Bajorans. I had to look away. I was like, I can't deal with this because it's
It rips the
triggering
guy's
something.
head off.
I know,
Yeah.
and like I'm supposed to laugh at that. I cannot laugh at that. So like this whole plot, to be honest, I didn't find it funny, and I just wanted it to end. So I'm sorry. I know you found it really funny, Brandon, but like it hit all of these things like, it didn't work for me.
The reason why I can laugh at this kind of stuff is because I was raised on 80s horror movies. And for me,
Yeah.
the gorier the violent death, the more I laugh at it. Like I just, because it's
really
awesome what they're doing.
I
with
really
it.
dislike horror. Like I can't stand to watch that kind of stuff. So it's just like a personal thing. Like if there is violence involved, you're automatically turned off any chance of making me laugh. So it's like a personal preference. So yeah,
Well, I guess-
I liked seeing Bajor, but the rest of it, I was like, I just was not into it. But go ahead.
So I guess we won't be doing a Shaun of the Dead commentary with you?
Please no. Like anything that involves, violence or zombies or whatever, like it's pretty well guaranteed I'm going to skip it. So, yeah. But anyway.
Chrissie, what are your thoughts
well.
on Badgie?
I really liked Badgie.
It's okay. You don't
yes,
have to feel
he was
guilty.
a
You're
little
looking
violent.
guilty.
Justin's looking at me, and I can't say how I really feel.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much the broken holodeck thing. They needed to connect it to the other stuff that was going on. Give me a line just to connect it, but that's fine, whatever. But
No, I'm with you on there. There was no payoff from that.
yeah, it was like, okay, so he pretended to break a comm badge's neck and killed it. That's not.
And then he's just fine.
Yeah, and everything. Well, except he wasn't.
Except he was like, it's terrible in here. I don't think he was
right.
homicidal, but he was resentful.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But as I'm watching it, I'm sitting there going, okay, if you are between the age of 50 and 30, this is funny. Because you dealt with Clippy on a regular basis, and it was annoying as all
was really
hell
annoying.
when you were in high school and college or working.
Yeah.
But if you started using Word, Microsoft, after 2007, you've never seen Clippy, you don't know why this is supposed to be funny.
Right.
Because it was taken out of Office in 2007.
It would be interesting to see
So-
people that don't know the reference, whether they would still find it funny, because it just seems like the kind of thing that would be funny. But yeah, they're referencing
Yeah.
something that some people may have never seen.
I actually had never seen it because I've been an Apple person, and
there you go.
There you go.
And I didn't even think about, anybody who was using iMacs in the 90s and early aughts, they're not They don't get this necessarily.
But when this came up, Phyllis, and you weren't aware of that reference, was it still funny for you?
Yeah, it still was funny, especially because they took it just seems so absurd that he was taking a badge and calling him Badgie like he was a pet or something like that. I was fine with that. And it looked like, it kind of looked like those TV ad commercial characters who are trying to anthropomorphize
or sell you pharmaceutical products or something, right?
Right, or something, or sell you dishwasher liquid or something like that. So I felt it was almost a throwback to me to sort of animation as selling to kids, etc. So I thought it made the whole aspect of it a bit juvenile and sort of brought Rutherford down a little bit for me, just in that he was so excited about making this strange pet.
I also feel like it's a bit of a weird thing to even have something like Badgie, because I think it's been established before that, especially in the 24th century, like basically the computer can help to answer like any question. You can be like, computer, tell me the answer to this. Like, it's weird that he has this like kind of animated thing to help him. I don't know.
Well, you want cute though.
I know he made it cute. So yeah, I mean, he wanted to make it cute. Okay.
So Justin, you don't want a Badgie plushie?
Absolutely not, please, because it'll kill me in my sleep. And by the way, Rutherford has some just like, I don't know, amazing like, stamina or recuperative or whatever, because he got stabbed and he has this big like hole and you see the blood coming out and he's like, I'm fine. I would have to go right to sick bay. I'd be like, I'm dying over here, but
it's just a lot of blood.
Sorry,
probably his implants.
Yeah,
it's his cybernetic implants that are helping him, maybe.
Yeah. The thing about the advertising is interesting because I hadn't gone there, but where I was reading it and many people were reading it as a parody of Clippy. It does bring to mind. There's one of the mobile phone companies has a poof ball. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
the
it's
green
Cricket.
poof balls. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it's Cricket, definitely.
Yeah, right.
And the fact that I just called it a mobile phone company, I guess, shows my age. But so yeah. And then I think about when you said that, I thought, okay. And then how many people did I see on Twitter saying that they want Badgie merch? So
everybody,
right?
Except
so
me,
maybe
except me.
Well, except you. Okay, so
I'm gonna hack
almost
your account
everybody.
and say I want Badgie.
Oh no!
I would like a Badgie, but the T-shirt this week for the T-shirt collective is Badgie.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it Badgie
if
stabbing
anybody's
Rutherford or
those.
just Badgie?
It's just Badgie. It's got a little
Badgie.
blood on him. I think not for you,
Oh,
Justin.
boy.
So you wouldn't like it.
No.
Oh, great.
But yeah, so maybe we're missing a commentary on commercialism here.
Well, I got something that I want to bring up on this here, but yeah. So if this was definitely a commercial one, and they're like, "Would you like to buy the Badgie Help app?" At the disclaimers at the bottom would be, "Use of the Badgie Help app may result in severe heartburn and shedding of the epidermal layers."
Yeah.
Yes.
May result in serious complications which may lead to death. You do hear that on pharmaceutical commercials. So.
Oh, yeah, all the time. But you would say it at about 7 times faster than that.
Yes.
Maybe Badgie's advertising that triple cereal.
Triple cereal.
Oh, I want the triple cereal, actually. That's a whole other thing because Phyllis, like, I love The Trouble with Edward, the short trek. I think it's hilarious, and Brandon hates it. So
Nope.
And I like it except for the triple cereal because it's gross. You were saying, Brandon.
Right.
Sorry.
With this one here, though, I just want to touch on it. There's nothing too deep on this. Like, yes, it's kind of odd that this plot doesn't correlate to anything else going on, and I didn't plan on this with our guests, but I will compare it to an Enterprise episode, one of my favorite Enterprise episodes, where the A and the B plot, I think, are both fantastic, but they felt weird having them together in the same episode, and that's Silent Enemy. So in Silent Enemy, we've got this A plot of these aliens that won't communicate with the ship. They're invading. There's this hostile force, and Archer's like determining whether or not they should go home. And in the B plot, Hoshi's looking for pineapple cake recipes for Reed. Yeah. And I think both are wonderful
it's a bit
stories.
more than that. She's trying to find out what it is that he wants and settles on pineapple cake. But
Settles on pineapple cake, which they're both wonderful, but it's weird because one's comedic and one's serious, and the two plots are not intertwined at all. So, like, I didn't mind that this isn't related to the other story, but I do think that we have something really interesting here that nobody's mentioned yet. I think there's a really interesting commentary on this Badgie episode here, and Badgie doesn't turn bad until Rutherford kicks him. Okay, so like, we've got a story here of like treatment of non-living creatures, like synthetic life forms like Data, like the Doctor and things like this, because up until then Badgie's been fine.
But Brandon, it's not that. I mean, he kicks him and that's not right and all of that, but like it actually turns bad after whatever, they're getting attacked and there's like some power fluctuation and the safeties are off. But are you saying that even though it isn't like right before that moment that happens, that he's remembering that and feeling like you treated me so badly, I'm going to kill you?
After he kicks him and he finishes the thing, the next shot we see of Badgie is when that ominous music starts.
Yeah.
So in my head, that is a direct correlation.
That's where I saw it.
There was some. Maybe I should have rewatched it. I thought it was after like something happened with a power fluctuation and they said the safeties were off. No,
he
Maybe
kicks
for
him.
a second time.
Finishes the plot, or finishes what he was going to say, finishes downloading. They zoom in on him and the ominous music plays. So, like, we've got something interesting here about, like, the treatment of, like, sentient creatures. Because at the end of this... Semi-sentient, because at the end of this, he's like, I'm always here. So, like, I think Moriarty...
So Rutherford's really the villain, because he kicks him and then he, like, wrings his neck and kills him.
Provokes him and whatnot.
What was the father-son thing? Was that a reference that I just missed? I felt like I was watching some other episode, but I wasn't sure which episode it was referencing.
I just felt like it was something after a while that it was like, you're my creator, I'm going to call you father. But maybe it is a reference to something.
Going to what Brandon was saying, that could be referencing Soong and Data and Lore. Because they had that referential, they called him father, at least Data did.
Could be. I mean, I'm not the most knowledgeable about things Star Wars, but it made me think a little bit about like Luke and Darth Vader. But it's not that thing at all.
No,
really.
Not.
But it popped into my head, and then I was like, no.
Also and then I'm sorry, son, that I had to kill you. I mean, usually it's like son killing dad, so it was like, I'm so sorry, son, that I had to kill you. There was something that in the back of my mind that I've seen that story, I've seen that movie. But I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're referencing there either. It did kind of ring a bell for me too, but I think it's just the idea of him calling him father is like having an artificial life form call their creator father. I think is just the bell that it was ringing for me.
I mean, maybe
but
there's
I mean,
a
like,
Data Song reference.
Talking about characters acting in ways we didn't like. I didn't like that Rutherford kicked this holographic program. Like, I mean, I've said on many podcasts before that, like, one of the things that I have with trouble with, like, Data and the Doctor and things like that is, and my love of Pulaski, right? Because I love Dr. Pulaski, and everybody freaks out because Pulaski was mean to Data, right? And I don't think she was, and she has a lot of character growth in season 2. But, we feel this way because we spend so much time with these artificial life forms, and they are portrayed by living, breathing human beings, right? So there is a level of personality there. I don't believe that we will ever get to the point where we will have artificial life forms as lifelike as the Doctor and Data. I don't think we'll get there. Other people can think that we will, and that's fine. But in the Star Trek universe, with having these creatures be so human-like, it bothers me to see Rutherford kick one of these programs, especially somebody who loves technology so much. Yeah. And Rutherford has been my favorite character on the show so far. He still is. I mean, this doesn't make him not my favorite character or anything like that, but it just bothered me when he did that. It really upset me.
Well, let me ask you this. There's, the perpetual joke of when your TV's not working, just kick it. Does that bother you?
No, but
okay.
Two reasons.
Different.
One,
well, your TV's not talking to you.
the TV's not talking to you, and 2, this is also Rutherford, though, who loves technology. He loves dealing with these things, and he loves fixing things, and he loves being in the Jeffries tubes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he created this program, and I mean, I guess it's his frustration of this program that he created, because I didn't get the impression that he created this program to impress Tendi. He just created this program and was using it to impress her.
I think his frustration comes from he's trying to impress Tendi and like he's looking bad and it's not working out for him. So he's actually maybe doing that, kicking it or abusing it for selfish reasons because he's like, I'm not being able to impress her enough and I'm going to take it out on this. So which is not good.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. It made me think of Sonia Gomez thinking the replicator for the hot chocolate.
Exactly. I can see Rutherford thanking the computer for the hot chocolate.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
He seems like that kind of guy to me, for sure. So, I mean, beyond that, I don't have anything else to say, but I mean, it is interesting that him kicking that thing is the provocation for it turning bad, and it felt odd for me. That's all for his character. And there's not much to add on the plot, though. I mean, we got a program that's run amok. That's really all we got to say about it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And I'm not even sure if Tendi is over her spacewalk fear.
Probably not.
No, she's got
Probably
more
worse.
trauma now.
Yeah. I don't think she's... Yeah.
Jack McBrayer was the perfect casting for that, though. For that voice.
Badgie?
Fantastic.
Badgie.
Yes.
Oh, that was who that was?
That
was perfect.
Remember him from 30 Rock? He was that squeaky assistant
I
guy.
know the name. I never can last long enough in the credits to actually see who these guest voices are. So thanks for that. That was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't catch that was Hertzler until after when people said it, and then I listened back and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Hertzler. So, but I didn't catch it quite right away. So, okay, so let's go to the final plot line, which is dealing with the aliens and the salvage that they want to get, and the Drachmani. And it's interesting because it's like, if they're salvaging it and it's been there for hundreds of years, I mean, I believe that they have salvage claim rights on it, right? So, like, if something's been abandoned for that long and it's weird that the Federation is suddenly there, they're going to have to deal with it. Maybe the Federation didn't know about it beforehand, but they still, if somebody's salvaging it already, they've still got to address the fact that if they've left it abandoned for a long period of time.
I was just thinking that maybe they found out that there was some, if we had sort of more time, that we'd find out that there was something actually hidden in there, that their mission was actually to retrieve it.
Like an interphasing cloaking device.
Yes.
There you go.
Be impressive. So I guess a couple of things on this plot. Like, first of all, one of the things I loved was that Freeman was like, we will not resort to violence. We will not, destroy them unless we absolutely have to, which I really like, and which is one of the things that I really liked when you see Picard do that in TNG, where he's like, no, we won't do that. But then, and Shax's, agitating to destroy them is kind of like Worf agitating to destroy everybody, which I get. But then at a certain point, Freeman's like, all right, just, target their warp core. And I'm thinking like, whoa.
Yeah.
Isn't there
Target
a way
their
to
shields.
target something else, like a shield generator or like something, so you don't have to destroy them? So that... I felt like that was a mistake that they put that in there, that Freeman's even going to give the order to do that. But also, I'll say...
It escalated quickly.
Yeah, also, I'll say, I did like that this freighter was, I think it's Antares class, which you see in the animated series, which is great. I love seeing that. And this Drachmani captain is great. It was voiced by J.G. Hertzler, but like, I think part of the problem that I have is they're trying to fit in 3 plots into like 25 minutes. So I didn't get to learn much about this captain. He was just like, give me the salvage. I didn't get to learn about what was on the freighter, which I really wanted to learn what was going on over there. And then Freeman making that decision. I did think it was interesting that they had this Drachmani captain say, like, I don't have any weapons, but I'm going to reverse my tractor beam and throw debris at you. I thought that was a cool use, although now he's destroying the stuff he wants to salvage. So I don't know. It was kind of fun, and it was probably my favorite of the 3 plots, but it was still felt like a little weird and like I wanted to know more. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it was just so surface in that way. I thought it was clever. Again, I thought all of the technology in this was clever, whether it was the warp core crazy crazy thing that was gonna be what resolved the whole thing, or whether it was flinging the debris at the Cerritos, because it's like, that's clever. That's using your head. I like that.
But it's unresolved. Who gets the salvage? I guess
It's all gone. It blew up.
Exactly. Well, just like it's unresolved because we don't know what of value was there.
Right.
Again, a lot of these, all three of these plots seem to be just get them going so you could have, wouldn't it be cool if, wouldn't it be cool if this this problem tech turns into something that's going to be deadly, and if we can use it for our own purposes, kind of thing.
I think it's like, see, the thing with this is that we did talk about this with John as well, in that it's rapid fire. There's like 8 minutes per story, right? And he called it for the YouTube generation. But it's like comedy is generally like this, and like even in The Simpsons and Family Guy, like they've got A and B plots. I have never paid too much attention and talked about it like I am for this Star Trek Lower Decks, but the new seasons of Simpsons and Family Guy are about to start. I'm going to watch and see how many plot lines, if there's an A, B, and a C in an average Simpson episode, or what's going on, because it is very quick and we don't get it. But it's like, does this type of animation, would this work having just an A plot or an A and a B plot only? Like, because the tone of the show that they're going for is quick, rapid fire humor. Right? And us as Star Trek fans, I mean, like, we want the dialogue scenes, we want the emotional scenes, we want the character development scenes, right? We want the scenes where they sit down and talk about their problems when Worf was a kid and he accidentally broke that kid's neck when he was playing soccer with them, or whatever it was. And we're not going to be getting that kind of stuff in this show.
I'm okay with it being rapid fire. It's just the kind of thing that they're rapidly firing at me doesn't work and isn't funny for me. Like, I don't have a problem with it being really fast. It's just the content that they're throwing that I'm having a problem with.
Yeah.
But sorry, Phyllis,
also,
go ahead.
Brandon, I was just going to say that it seems as though some of the other episodes, or the ones I thought were my favorites, were more A and B, and didn't it? If there was a C, it was just a kind of overall, this is happening on the bridge kind of thing. But like in Temporal Edict, where everything could either be the change from buffer time to crazy out of control. We've got to work all the time, and we're also delivering gifts. That were two different things, two different stories for me that really worked. And even with Boimler having that great conversation with Freeman was again about buffer time. So to me, that was an A and B story, and that one happens to be one of my favorites, along with last week's Cupid's Arrow, which I thought also followed more of an A and a B.
Excellent. Chrissy, anything else you want to add on this plot line here?
It would have been cool if the thing that was on the freighter was what caused Badgie to become mean and crazy and homicidal, and the computer thing that Fletcher hooked to his head to become seemingly sentient.
Tied in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I have a bit of a problem with is, it's actually something John Tenuta mentioned a couple weeks ago. This is supposed to be a ship that focuses on second contact. And we've had 2 episodes out of 6 that are about second contact. So I hope in the next ones we get more of that. And also it seems like, each episode something happens that really seriously affects or attempts to destroy parts of the ship. I'd like to actually see an episode that's funny, that doesn't depend on a lot of action or a lot of destruction. So anyway, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it feels like every week they have this formula, like something crazy happens and, stuff happens. I'd like to see if they could be funny without that. But
I think that's a fair point. And, usually in these first seasons, you get a lot of uneven episodes. So, certainly we can all point to TNG, et cetera, but, or Discovery, in my opinion. But they may be getting there. How is this a 10-episode season?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. well, then I'll give it to them for the 4 more that are coming and see how that does.
Yeah. Right on. Well, anything else you want to add, Phyllis, to the conversation on the episode?
No, I think we've pretty much hit it all. I have a question for you guys, though.
Sure.
Which is, my favorite episode so far is probably Cupid's Errant Arrow, maybe followed by Temporal Edict. Those are the 2 I like the best. I'm just wondering if you guys have a favorite or 2 favorites that you want to mention.
I think for me that this episode is probably my favorite so far, and then last week's the Cupid's Errant Arrow as well. So my least favorite was the one where episode 4 that we had on with Tanita.
Yeah.
I think that was what was that one called?
Moist
Vessel. Yeah.
Vessel. Yeah, so, I'm with you there. I thought that was unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Chrissie loves ranking favorites.
Oh yeah, I can definitely say of what we've seen, Cupid's Errant Arrow has been my favorite episode. It was the only one that I was like, I wanted to rewatch the other ones, but that one I was just like, oh cool, I just throw that on, watch it for just have it on. I'm not going to say I don't have a least favorite. I just have a favorite. We'll go there.
Okay.
Justin.
Well, Cupid's Errant Arrow by a long margin is my favorite because it's the only one I liked all the way through. Probably followed by Envoys, which I liked a lot of it. This week's was probably my least favorite. It just didn't work for me on lots of levels. So, yeah. But I do have a favorite. That's something.
That is something. And it sounds like we almost have a consensus, actually. Almost.
Yeah,
Almost.
I think that most people have liked that one. I think that most people like that episode. So.
It's the most Trek-like.
Phyllis, thank you so very, very much for joining us today. It's been wonderful having you on for this discussion. Please tell the listeners where they can find you online, and are there any projects that you're working on that you can promote to people? I mean, I know we're kind of just in COVID right now, but is there anything you've been working on?
Actually, I am as everybody who's a writer on COVID at this point is, I'm not working on any existing series, but I am working on adapting a short story I found that's a sci-fi short story, which has kind of a cool hook. And I'm at Phyllis Strong on Twitter, and PHILLY. And yeah, I'm looking at some stuff from the 1930s, since I feel as though we're living in the 1930s all over again.
Yeah, in Germany.
That's what I'm looking at. So, but from the view of expat of people from America or England who are there, so kind of a Cabaret meets Babylon Berlin meets The Bold Type or something like that, where you got some coming of age and how is it that the people there were just missing all this or letting it boil.
Yeah.
So that's my more that's what I'm in the middle of research on, and is a little more research intensive.
Excellent, right on. Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not getting nacho cheese all over your face and having trouble getting it out?
That is an issue. I just pick up one of my cats and clean off my face, and then they have to deal with it, and they like cheese. So. That was quite an image I just created there. Anyway, right, so I'm on Twitter at the Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia. And there I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. And you can also follow my work as an historian by liking the Facebook page my fellow historian partner Jason and I run, and that is History with the Szilagys, or going to the webpage historywiththeszilagys.org. That's SZILAGYIS. And there you'll see our most recent projects, the historical musings about modern connections with historical events, and also Jay's project on Lovecraft Country, where he's talking about historical connections there.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Justin, where can people find you when I'm not gonna wear your skin.
Every time something like this happens, I have nightmares, you know. You are responsible. No, actually, I probably don't, or I don't remember them. Anyway, when I'm not avoiding anything like that, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at TrekFan4747, where I tweet about nothing but Star Trek. And you can find me in our Facebook group, the Federation Council Chambers, where you can talk about this very episode. Please go there, join, talk about this episode. We'd love to hear from you. You can find me those places.
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. You can find me here on the network with a show called Franchise Fatigue, which I host with my friend Zach Moore. It's all about movies, remakes, and sequels, and we're smack dab in the middle of our Planet of the Apes retrospective. And you can find me over on the Nerd Party Network. We are getting close to the end of our David Fincher rewatch, leading up to his film Mank that'll be coming out on Netflix very, very soon. We just had our episode release on season 1 of House of Cards, because David Fincher directed the first 2 episodes of that and he produced the show. And you can also find me on my Hitchcock podcast, Good Evening, and Alfred Hitchcock podcast with my friends Chris and Tom, where we cover all of Hitch's films in chronological order. Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to our executive producers, Ken Tripp, Tony Robinson, and Zach Moore. Thank you to Zach Tripp for creating the wonderful theme music, and Tony Robinson for the awesome show art. Please rate and review our show on Apple Podcast, and please subscribe. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at UFP Earth, or on our new Twitter handle of IDIC Podcast. We also have a new Facebook group called the Federation Council Chambers, where you can discuss the episode of any UFP podcast. You can email us at infinitediversity@ufp.earth. And on the next episode, we'll be talking about episode 7 of Lower Decks, which we don't know the title of yet.
Wait a minute, I may have the title for you guys here.
Oh, yeah, you've got it. Look at you.
Beautiful.
It's going to be called The Wrath of Badgie. No, it's not really. And you know what?
You're a liar.
I got you there for a second. But you know what?
You
If that is the title, I will not be here next week.
Okay. From hell's heart, I stab at thee, says Badgie. Until then, peace and long life.
And respect your artificial intelligence.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.